Shalom, family. It's good to see everybody here. I hope everybody is enjoying their morning. Thank you, Byron B. It is nice music. It's nice and royalty free. That's why I'm playing it. So, anyway, everybody, we're going to go over a story that has been out in the news now for the past few weeks. Now, when I first saw this story, I was a little hesitant about doing it, but as time went on, I realized I really should do this story. I think, and this is just my personal opinion, this particular thing is going to erode the relationship between Israel and the United States. I think this is going to be a major game changer for real. Now, we already know it's prophesied that these Gentile nations were going to start fighting among each other. The U.S. is not going to be exempt from these fights. You know, right now they seem to think they are going to go on and just throw funding and aid, and no, they're going to be doing more than that. Okay, they're going to be doing a hell of a lot more than just standing on the sidelines and throwing money at everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And, before I even did this story, I went out to see how many other stories were out about it. It's quite a few. It's a lot of outlets that have this story out there. I tell you what, Gaza is looking a lot like Syria in these pictures. So let's get into it. US and Israel, they're not seeing eye to eye on what to do after the war is over as far as occupation. So Israel war in Gaza is raising questions on how the coastal enclave should be managed once the fighting is over, exposing a growing divide between the US and Israeli officials on this issue. Now, let me tell you the position that the US is taking. The US is saying post war, when this war is finally resolved, they want the Palestinians to run Gaza. And you know that is not going over well with the Israelis. So, several U.S. officials, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken, have said Israel should not occupy Gaza and the strip must be ran by the Palestinians. Okay, so what they're saying is you shouldn't be colonizing this place anymore. We want the Palestinians to be in full control. Well, things are already starting to erode between Israel and the US because that is the position the US is taking. No, actually, this is a picture of Gaza, not Syria. But if you look at the pictures, I think because the building structures are very similar over there in that part of the region where they have a lot of these concrete looking buildings, it's the same way in Gaza. So it does look a lot like Syria, but this is an actual aerial shot of Gaza. And there's a lot of aerial shots of it. You know, it's more in ruin than you can even imagine. It's a lot of damage and debris everywhere. So, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is vowing to hold on to Gaza for an indefinite period of time once the dust settles, though he has not clarified what exactly would that mean for the Palestinians? So the US right now want the Israelis to relinquish control over Gaza and let the Palestinians control it. Man, yeah. So post conflict management of Gaza is also dependent upon the outcome of the war and whether Israel fulfills its mission to eradicate Palestinian militant groups, like Hamas, among with how much destruction is inflicted to that end. The military operation itself may go on for a very, very long time. And I believe it will. I believe this fighting, don't be surprised if we're in 2024 and the fighting is still going on. I believe it will be a long term fight because the US has, Joe Biden had asked for a pause, and some of the politicians were calling for a ceasefire, and Israel has flat out refused to do it. They won't do a ceasefire. So that's why they've been in there bombarding the place day after day. They won't do a ceasefire. And the US want them to do it so that they can get aid cuz they spent millions and millions of dollars in aid to get to those people that live along that Gaza strip. And right now, they can't get that aid in there because of the fighting. So, okay, so it can go on for a long time. There are difficult possibilities. In the worst case, it could be that Israel is dealing with an ongoing counterterrorism or counterinsurgency operation that is essentially open-ended. So this is what the German VP is saying. This is what he is saying, Ian Lesser. So it could be a long time until we even see some kind of new phase. Israel has held Gaza from 1967 to 2005 when it withdrew following a major Palestinian uprising. Hamas has ruled the Gaza Strip from 2007, but the US designated a terrorist group as now fighting for its survival after it launched a surprise attack on southern Israel on October 7th, killing 1,200 people. So both Israel and the US agree that Hamas cannot return to power in Gaza, but the messaging on what happens next is muddied. Blinken said there need to be a transition period at the end of the war, but that it was imperative that the Palestinian people be central to the governance in Gaza. We're very clear that on no recuperation, just as we're very clear on no displacement of the Palestinian population, he said at a press conference this week, we need to see and get to, in effect, unity of governance when it comes to Gaza and the West Bank, and ultimately to a Palestinian state. Now, if you know, Israel have been fighting against a Palestinian state. They've been fighting against it, and the US is for it. And they don't want Israel in control of Gaza anymore. So, yeah, so behind the scenes, it's not going so well. Yeah, in front of the cameras, everybody's putting on a united front. But behind the scenes, oh no, it's not united at all. Because you got Israel that, after they get finished doing all this fighting, they want to take over Gaza. So Netanyahu told ABC this week that he is committed to ensuring Israel cannot suffer the fate of October 7th again, promising a new security reality for the citizens of Israel. For an indefinite period, Israel will have the overall security responsibility because we've seen what happened when we don't have it, he said. When we don't have the security responsibility, what we have is eruption of Hamas terror on a scale that we couldn't imagine. While Netanyahu later clarified that he does not seek to reoccupy Gaza, he said at a meeting on Friday that Israel would have total security control of the coastal enclave after the war, according to Israeli media. So that's where the fallout begins, y'all. The US don't want them in there controlling it at all. And Israel wants to control it. I mean, he's talking about the security, but security is controlling it. I mean, let's be real. If you want to be there to control the security, then you want to control it, plain and simple. So we shall see how this goes. It don't seem to be going well at all. Yes, yes, trust me. If they do all this warring in there and the Palestinians get to control it, y'all know right off the bat it's going to be a big, major problem. And then the US, Anthony Blinken is talking that Palestinian state, which Israel has been fighting against all this time. Oh no. oh, oh, you can best believe the relationship between the US and Israel, if it was strained before, it really going to be strained now. You know, when I don't know, many of you probably do know when Obama was the sitting president, man, there was virtually no relationship between Israel and the US during those years. You know, it was a very different ball game when Obama was in there. The relationship started to mend a little when Trump took office. And then you got Biden, and technically, Biden was the VP when Obama was in office. And to be honest with you, Netanyahu and Joe Biden, their relationship is really not all that great. For a long time, these two men barely spoke to each other. They're speaking a lot more because of what has happened over there. Yeah, Mike, see, I don't think Obama liked him, and I don't think Netanyahu liked Obama. So I think that was a mutual thing right there. Yeah, they didn't, and to be honest with you, Obama didn't seem like he was going to bow down to them, and that was another issue. That was another issue. He wasn't going to bow down to them. Yeah, yeah. Look, the end times are happening, y'all. It's happening in real time. It really truly is. And as we approach 2024, it's going to be more of these Gentile states falling out with each other. It's going to be more. Mhm. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a live stream. I have that clip of, the Israeli woman saying that, the black youth was the biggest threat to Israel. I'm going to be doing a live stream on that one day next week. I do have the clip, and I've been meaning to talk about that, and I am going to get around to that. You know what, Byron B? I saw an LGBTQ um, parade over there in Israel back when I was still pretty new to the truth. It must have been like around 2011, 2012. And I was looking, I was like, y'all having an LGBTQ parade in Tel Aviv? I believe it was in Tel Aviv. And they sure did. I mean, they go through a lot of the same things. I know they try to act like there's something different, but they go through a lot of the same similar problems that you see in other places. And then I remember when I was doing my stories on opioids, they had an opioid problem over there in Israel. They were battling that over there as well, not just here in the US. In Israel, they were having an opioid problem. A lot of people were strung out on opioids. Mhm. Well, yeah, that's why she made that video that we're the biggest threat, black youth, because why are they such a threat? Because you know who we are. That's why they're a threat. They're a threat because you know who they really are. Yeah, well, that's why we are the threat of the entire globe because of that. We're a threat to every nation. All right, y'all. So just keep your eye on this because I really think this thing about what the US is on and who should manage Gaza and Israel don't want to relinquish control over it. That's going to become a huge problem between the US and Israel. I can see it coming a mile away. So keep your eye on it and we shall see what happens. So, y'all, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you coming. Those of you that do Bible study, we'll probably get around to that like 3:30 today, and I will put the live stream details up within the hour. Shalom, family.